Mm-hmm.
and women, but come not near any man upon whose mark, and begin at my sanctuary. They began at the ancient men which were before the house. And he said unto them, defile the house, and fill the courts with the slain. Go ye forth. And they went forth and slew in the city. And it came to pass, while they were slaying them, and I was left, I fell upon my face and cried and said, Ah, Lord God, wilt thou destroy all the residue of Israel in the pouring out of thy fury upon Jerusalem? Then said he unto me, the iniquity of the house of Israel and Judah is exceeding great, and the land is full of blood, and the city is full of perverseness. For they say, the Lord hath forsaken the earth, and the Lord seeth not. And as for me also, my eye shall not spare, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense their way upon their head. And behold, the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter, saying, I have done as thou hast commanded me. Who is the man with the inkhorn then? Because I would have thought that was Jesus.
Yeah, well, it's an agent of Christ, and this city is his church, Jerusalem. This is not talking about the world. This is basically a judgment, as I said here, is similar to, remember we read that Elijah in Israel executing the false prophet, it is similar to Ezekiel. Ezekiel is yet to be fulfilled, Ezekiel 9, and it will be fulfilled among modern Israel. So when the Bible is saying that somebody will come in the spirit and power of Elijah, it is talking about something that will be among us. That applies to us as Seventh-day Adventists. God is focusing on his people, Israel of today, and he said the false prophets, those among us, because there are a lot of people preaching and teaching and being a part of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Yes, go ahead. That God will have to remove them before the church can triumph. That's what it is saying. Yes. So Ezekiel 9 applies to the church of the last church, the Seventh-day Adventist church of this time, in this world history. And so, as you have read there so eloquently, if you look at it, God uses 7, but in this case he used 6 to show that it is an odd situation. It's not like the 7 last plagues, because he doesn't want people to confuse this. He wants us to have a clear concept of what he's saying. So he said, go through the midst of the city. Through the midst of what? Jerusalem. Jerusalem is God's people. So, and said...
But he's constantly doing that though, isn't he? He's constantly pressing reset.
Yes. Yes. Because...
not for his sake, but for ours.
Not for us. Yeah. So this is something that we have to. We'll go a little further, but let's just clinch Elijah, um, as you're seeing there, and I will take it up as it applies to Ezekiel. It's Elijah has a message. Moreover, if Elijah is a messenger, he is to have a message. His message is to be heart-searching, for he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to the fathers. The fathers shall long to see their children saved. The children shall long to see their fathers saved. This revival and reformation shall in truth be crowned with the purification of the church. Do you know that God's church will exist in the future without sin and sinners? Yes. A lot of people, it seems, as Seventh Adventist leadership, it seems they can't come to grip with that.
It's a scary thought, though.
Huh?
That's a scary thought.
Well, he doesn't, it's not his intention to scare us. His intention is that we understand that in order to finish the gospel work, he has to get rid of sin and sinners. The church in the time of Joshua, they failed, or were failing. I was failing because. Huh?
Did he say? Can you repeat that for me? Because it kind of went out.
Yeah, I'm saying that you're listening to me on the phone or on Zoom.
I'm not sure. Well, no. Well, I'm not sure what's going on because I was wondering that earlier. I think I'm listening to you
on the phone.
On WhatsApp.
Yeah, that's why. Because I'm on both of them anyway. So if you want to close the phone, you can hear me better on WhatsApp, on Zoom.
Okay, I can go ahead. I'll try.
Yeah, try. If it doesn't work, we'll come back to it.
Oh, it says tap to return to call. Let's have a look.
All right. Speak to me on Zoom. Let me see. Unmute your mic on Zoom.
Let's have a look. This is interesting. Can you hear me now?
Hold on. I may have to do something here. Hold a moment. Okay, go ahead again. Go ahead again.
Can you hear me now?
I'm hearing you on the phone. Let me see. I should be.
I turned off the other one.
Huh?
You've got both of them on.
Yeah, both of them on. Well, I think I'm here. I'm still hearing you on the phone, but anyway, as long as we are hearing each other and you're seeing the screen, that's all matters. All right, so let's finish up Elijah right quick here. Elijah, as we have said,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. You hearing me? I'm hearing you well. You hearing me? Maybe.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm hearing you. Okay. And you see my screen still? Important as it is. However, keep in mind the time in which to expect Elijah is the coming of the great and dreadful day. What did Malachi say?
Malachi.
Yeah, what did Malachi say?
Where?
Malachi 4:5. Let's go back here.
4:5. Oh gosh, yes. We did forget. Malachi 4:5. That was the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the hearts of the father to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse.
So the time when he is to come is before the great and dreadful day of the Lord. That's key. That's the time.
If it doesn't say how long before, does it?
No, before. But if she prophesied, that means he is to come after her, but before the great and dreadful day. And what is the great and dreadful? The great and dreadful day is what Ezekiel talks about. Great for his people, for those who are sealed. Remember, Ezekiel is talking about the sealed one. And dreadful for those false prophets who will be slain. Hmm? Yet just this knowledge alone is insufficient. To know when and what the great and dreadful day itself is all important. Without this knowledge, who would possibly discern Elijah when he should come? This knowledge not escape us. Inspiration is at pains again to locate the day through Malachi's prophecy. So, let's move right along. As never before, we should pray not only that laborers may be sent forth into the great harvest field, but that we may have a clear conception of truth, so that when the messengers of truth shall come, we may accept the message and respect the messenger. That is found in Testimony to the Church, Volume 6, page 420. No other course dare anyone take in this matter. The crown.
You know something?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
I was going to say, Israel never respected the prophets.
Yeah.
The prophets always got a raw deal.
I agree. I absolutely agree. That's why Jezebel was able to kill so many, because the leader, Ahab, he preferred to worship idol, Baal. crown of life demands our most vigilant guarding of it, because if our enemy seeks to wrest it out from our grasp, those who are prepared, those who are to prepare the way for the second coming of Christ, are represented by faithful Elijah. So you see how we get to become Elijah?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking it was literally Elijah. It was always a type. We would become the type.
Yeah, but before we can become the type, we have to have a message, or a messenger called, who comes in the spirit and power of Elijah. So we took it at face value that yes, we are going to be the type of Elijah, but we can't unless we go through the message of Elijah for this time. That's why when we go back and study, we see that somebody is to come with it, and he will be a messenger. All right, so, and then now we have it.
He will be a messenger.
Repeat? Yeah. Oh. Please repeat.
Whoever he is.
Yeah. He will be a messenger. And as a result, helpers. We will be helpers of Elijah. We will be helpers of that message within the church, within Jerusalem. It says, as John came in the spirit of Elijah to prepare the way for Christ's first coming. So in order for his second coming, the way to be prepared, we need to get in sync with Elijah's message of this time. On this volume 3, page 62. All right. Please go through that, and then we might have to rest my voice after this and pick it up again. But go.
I can read. It's
Yeah.
not a problem.
Yeah, go.
What is the great and dreadful day? That's Elijah of today.
Go on.
Hello?
Go on. Keep going.
Great for those who are sealed. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Dreadful day for those who did not get the seal. Wow. Yeah, because he does say judgment begins at the house of God.
Yes, that's what he's concentrating on right now. His church.
And I guess the judgment of the living has begun. I don't know when. You know, people keep saying, yeah, the judgment of the living has begun.
No, it hasn't. Not yet. We have signs. The Bible gives us signs to tell us when it begins. It's still the judgment of the dead. When it changes to the judgment of the living, the church will be different. It will not be the same. So they might say that, but the Bible doesn't. They can't prove it from the Bible. Judgment of the dead is still going on, but yes, it will change hands. But when it does, there'll be a marked difference among God's people. They're not just the same, getting up, going here, going there, no. All right, go ahead. Joel chapter 2.
Joel chapter 2. Is this? No. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong there hath not been, and a strong there hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, yea, and nothing shall escape them.
Yes, so Joel is sort of shedding light on what is this great and dreadful day. And so his account here is telling us that it's a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of cloud and thick darkness. And it is very clear that it is the trumpet is to blow in Zion, telling people about the dreadful day. So notice that it is bringing to our attention that this will produce an army of people. Hear what it says, what you read? It says a great people and a strong. These are the sealed people from the church. There has not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it. Right? All right. And so the last one he said, the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. This is talking about the last movement that God will have doing evangelistic work.
Is that the dream that Ellen White has where, do you know, Maurice Vanden has a devotional where it's early writings actually, where they go up that mountain and they have to hold on to that rope because they have to drop off all the stuff as they're going upwards, and then they have to take. She says it gets that tight that even their stockings they have to take off and throw down into the abyss, and then they get to the pinnacle where you can't see anything on the other side, but you can see a mighty rope suspended from nothing, and they have to hold on to the rope.
Have to trust in
swing across.
Who holds the cord? Who is at the end of this cord? The what is it called? The dream. Yeah, I know what you're talking. I don't know. It's called the something another dream. Yes, that is a gripping, very riveting.
That's my favorite book, you know.
Reading, yes.
Early Writings and Desire of Ages.
Mm.
And Education and Christ Object Lessons.
Sounds like
all the Conflicts of the Ages series.
Sounds like all of them. Mm.
I know.
Yeah.
I already have a favorite book.
Yeah. That's good. So this is the army of God that we have the potential to be candidates in this army as Seventh-day Adventists if we understand and accept the message, because we read earlier that those who don't make use of the spirit of prophecy the truth that God brings us to that, the precious Advent message, will not, if we don't use that up, we're unlikely to get the truth of the light that is to come from the Word. And so that's why it's important to learn what we have been given so that we can take in more. So people who just casual with this Seventh Adventist message will not be able to grasp this. You see? And unless...
That means I need to be more vigilant about this then?
Yeah, all of us. All of us.
I need to be. Do you know, I had a dream years ago. I can't remember. It was in the 90s I had this dream. And I woke up crying from that. But I had the end of the dream before the beginning. It was over 2 nights. I can't remember if it was consecutive nights, but I know it was over 2 nights. And I had the end of the dream before the beginning. And the beginning of the dream was where I'm trying to remember because I wrote it down and put it in my handbag. I remember writing it in purple ink. And I was running. And it was like we're in Germany or Austria, one of those places, very green and lush. I love Germany. Well, I was running, and it was almost like a clearing in a forest. And there was like a gift shop or a bookstore or something. It looked, in my mind's eye now, when I walked into the doors, it was like a gift shop. And I walked in, and I picked up some things. I'm sure it was food. And I went to pay with cash. And she said, "No, we don't accept that." And I said, "What?" And she said, "No, it's card only." And I said, "Oh, okay. I don't have a card." And then I don't want to say she alerted the authorities or thingy, but all instinctively now, I start running. So I leave the shop and start running. Just outside the shop, there's a bonfire. That bonfire wasn't there before. When I went in, I didn't notice it. When I come out, there's this huge bonfire, and it's completely burning. And when I get closer, it's all Bibles burning.
Oh.
So now I start running. I run into the forest, and then I come to another place where there's a house. And 2 people start chasing me, a girl and a boy. And then I run down. There's this huge fence. It's an old English manor house. So you've got the bricks at the bottom and then the iron rods at the top. I jump over the iron rods and clear them and then go down into the basement where there's a pool, a swimming pool, and then there's a famous group called the Eurythmics playing. And the lead player of the Eurythmics is Annie Lennox, and she says, and I see in the pool, there's a Bible spinning on its axis.
Wow.
Just in the middle of the pool. And she says to me, "Don't you believe?" And I said, "No, I don't." And I then run back upstairs and run. Again, the 2 people that were behind me, the 2 children, tried to grab my legs as I tried to clear the fence again. And one of them grabs my leg, I think, and one of them gets killed. I either kick or stab or something, I can't remember, but one of them gets killed. I clear the fence and start running again. Now I'm running through the same forest, and it's dense, like there's trees within feet of each other, really dense, and I'm running really fast. This is obviously a dream because I do not run. I'm running really, really, really fast. And when I get to the edge of the forest, I remember it being incredibly cold. I remember it just being so cold. No snow, no nothing. But it was just so cold. And I remember running, and it was dark. Cold and dark. And as I get to the end of the dream, I get to another clearing now. a tree. That was what I remembered. I remember running really fast and not hitting a tree.
Wow.
But the trees are really close together. Anyway, that was my dream. Dreams. Ooh.
Interesting. Is that a dream or a vision?
I don't know, but that was in the 90s though, you know.
Okay. Well, Nebuchadnezzar, he had a dream, and it's just being fulfilled today.
Oh, true.
It's for the latter days. So let's look at this army. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains. So you're just talking about run. Shall they leap like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their faces the people shall be much pained, all faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men and women. They shall climb, listen to this, they shall climb the walls like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks, neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall down the sword, when they fall upon the sword, listen to this, they shall not be wounded. This is talking about God's invincible, God's army that will defy death. Go to Revelation chapter 9, and you will see there it talks about, in those days men shall see death and shall not find it. Yes, this is the army God is going to produce out of the Seventh-day Adventist believers. So we are Seventh-day Adventists. We have this precious Advent message.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
It's just that if we don't use it for what it was meant to be,
we lose it.
It'll become a curse.
Will become a curse. Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt about that. Hear what it says, they shall run to and fro in the cities. This is missionaries, they are working for the Lord now. They shall run up on the walls. That means you become like spider now, Spider-Man. You can climb walls like a spider. They shall climb up on the houses. That means all the skyscrapers. You don't even have to use the lift or the stairs. You just walk up on that wall on the outside. Yes. I tell you, God has something for this last day people if they will. Yes. Hear what it says. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. I mean, these people shall create some. I mean, because people are going to oppose them, they will be mainly working during the time of the mark of the beast. Because if you notice, and this morning I gave a discourse on the mark of the beast regarding the woman sitting on many waters, sitting on 7 heads, and sitting on the back of the beast. Three very profound exhibitions of that woman. And this world called scarlet will exist, but it will exist with only unbelievers. Because God will separate his unbelievers from the church first, and then in the world, when Babylon is set up, he shall have his people separate out of Babylon, out of the domain of these places. Okay, your time.
Can I ask, were you born into the message or did you come in?
I came in.
Okay.
I came in. I was more like...
I that we're born into it.
Yeah.
Once you're born into it, you take it for granted. It's just a way of life. It's
But-
like the Jews.
Yes, like the Jews, yes.
We don't cherish it as much as people who find this beautiful jewel and they're like, wow, I've got this new thing. I just thought I'd ask.
Somebody was saying, just relate the story of Mother Teresa, that some preacher was asking her about her success in and what she did. What she did, she pulled out a book, Ellen White book. You remember somebody told us his story.
Online.
Yeah, you remember?
Yeah, it's a friend of mine.
Oh, and then I heard a similar one where the person was doing this, maybe it was having success, and they were trying to find out what was the success about. And Seventh Adventists, when they realized they were using, it was a Seventh Adventist, so they were using the Seventh Adventist book, It's Step to Christ or Counsel and Diet and Food, whatever, but they were having success with it because we dropped the ball, we dropped what we get. And the world is running with the health now, health message, when it is our right arm. So
It's our birthright. That's our birthright.
that explains it even better.
Because that's like, what's his name?
Esau, yeah.
It's our, I keep saying this to people. I said, you know what? I say it all the time here. I'm like, I've been saying this for the last 10 years. No, that's 12 years. I've been saying, before that, I was saying, you know what, we need to utilize what we have. And I was like, why isn't anybody, I don't know, maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't. And I was like, we have this. God's given us this. I just didn't understand. No, it was like, I guess it's an American thing because, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe.
No, it's just the reality of things. We don't, because, and I tell you why. The Bible explains that the dragon was wrath with the woman and to make war with the remnant of her seed. That same Revelation 12, the dragon opened his mouth and poured out a flood. Now we know the symbolic meaning of that is that what he's doing is flooding the church with worldliness and worldly people who have worldly ideas to carry away. So when he says he opened his mouth and pour a flood after the woman, is the same thing. He brings in people that don't have any relish for the truth or the message. We're talking about.
Like the women, that 7 women will take hold of one man.
Yeah, Ezekiel 4, yeah. I mean, Isaiah 4, yes. They will just want to say, okay, all I want is to be called Christians. But I will do my own thing. I will eat. That means I will study what I want, eat my own bread, all that sort of thing.
So we go back to now. Then we go back to Constantine.
Constantine.
Constantine made everybody into Christians, but they had to be Christians within their own thing.
Yeah,
That's
that's
when they
right.
brought in all the saints that were like, they were, what was I going to say? The saints that were pagan gods, but they just utilized them as
Because I put a Christian garb. So, yeah. That's what Rome did. Constantine. Constantine, he baptized in 1 year 12,000 men, not including children and women. And he gave them some white raiments. He gave each one 20 pieces of gold and promised them freedom from slavery. You can't beat that. That flood the Christian church. That's Satan's method of flooding the church with people. You know how many people came in based on that? And then he so-called convert to Christianity. No, it's the devil's way of flooding the church.
Yeah, the seed that comes up on shallow ground.
Yes, flood the church. So looking at the great and dreadful day of the Lord, according to Malachi, it says a day of slaughter. Yes, it's a day when the wicked, those ministers and preachers among us who, because most of them came in under some guys, they will be slain. God is going to clean them out. Isaiah 30:25 talks about the slaughter. A day of darkness, Joel 2:2, and destruction of the wicked, Ezekiel 9. All these scriptures are fulfilling among us. Right? Joel's 2 chapter gives us a most compact and vivid, that's what we just read, of the great and dreadful day. And that's why he shows us the wicked and he shows us the Elijah and the Elijahs. From these alone we can clearly see what it is like. And as Elijah comes just before that day begins, he must necessarily be the one who is to interpret these prophecies of the day. He is the one that is to interpret what's going on here. My Zoom just went out. My Zoom? Yeah, are you seeing anything?
Yeah, I can see Elijah of today.
So, my Zoom just went out.
Hang on. Did it go again?
What are you seeing now?
Dreadful for the wicked. Study of Elijah, antitypical Elijah the prophet shall prepare. Did you put this together, or is it Bible readings?
Yeah, I put it together and put the studies. Yeah, I put the different quotes and. Okay, let me see. Because something just jumped off my screen, so I don't know where I am.
It's gone.
But we were studying. You're not seeing anything now?
I can see a pink screen. Elijah of today.
Okay. All right. So we are studying the great and dreadful day, and I'm just trying to find where my last page. Okay, this is in Joel. And we read about there, yes, we read that. And we were looking at these pictures, okay, focusing on the great and dreadful day. The chapter gives us a most compact and vivid, we read that. You see a man's face?
Yeah.
Dreadful for the wicked, but it will be. Alright, so I think that concludes the great and dreadful day in terms of elucidating or explaining what it is about. It's great for one set but terrible for another set. That's why it is combined, a combination of great and dreadful. It's great for God's people, the righteous, dreadful for the false prophets and their followers. Good. Now Elijah, the prophet, shall prepare the way. In this section, let us read, let's look a little on what Elijah is. Matthew 11, 7, 9, 10, 14. Go ahead.
And as they departed, Jesus began to say unto the multitudes concerning John, what went ye out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken with the wind. But what went ye out for to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, and more than a prophet.
Right. Verse 10.
For this is he of whom it is written, Behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare thy way before thee. Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of women, there hath not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence. And the violent take it by force. For all the prophets of the law unto John, is it unto or until? I can't see it because it's got that thing in front of it. Until John.
Yeah, for all the prophets and the law prophesied until
John. And if you will receive it, this is Elias or Elijah, which was for to come. So basically, it's the message that John's given us is Elijah.
Yeah, so he's showing how John, although Elijah originally manifest, he is showing that John also manifests this in the spirit and power of Elijah with his message that he preached regarding the preparation of the way for Christ's coming. We will see that even though we are clear that John came in the spirit and power of Elijah, but that wasn't the fulfillment of the Elijah before the great and dreadful day, because he came in the time before the coming of the first coming of Christ. He prepared the way for the first coming, and equally so, somebody will come to prepare the way for his second coming, and that's where we come in.
So we're preparing the way for the second coming?
Yes, because we are accepting, because there's a message that comes. That we are.
Do you know, I wish I would have taken notes during this, because I'd like to refer back to them based on...
I can give it PowerPoint. Okay, read it. Keep reading. I'll give you this. Send it to you.
Okay.
This messenger
of the covenant, of the promise, antitypical Elijah, the prophet shall prepare the way. He shall restore all things. As he prepares the way, the Lord will suddenly come to his temple, to his church. And what is his work to be? To purify or cleanse his people by weeding the unrepentant sinners from among them. The question, but who shall abide in the day of his coming, solemnly declares that we had better now get busy and do what it takes to make us stand before the cleansing begins.
Yeah. So what is more crucial to us as Seventh-day Adventists is a message of Elijah to the church, which brings revival and reformation, which means that he will be doing a separation. He will bring about judgment in the church in order for the gospel to be finished. Because the gospel is right now being held back because his people, his chosen people, are more and more every day getting involved with worldliness, worldly. Going, one statement in volume 5, page volume 5, I don't remember the page, or 17 or something 17. The church has turned back from following Christ, her leader, and is steadily retreating towards Egypt. You see? So we will have to sort of quell that, and we'll look into studies that this Elijah brings to us as a people to show us how these are going now. Zechariah, Isaiah, and all that. Like you fell off something. Are you there? I have you on the phone. It's reconnecting. Alright. Now you fell off. But you're on Zoom anyway. Open your Zoom mic and you will hear me. The phone is gone, but you're still on Zoom, so can you open your Zoom, unmute your Zoom, if you're hearing me? Tracy, I'm waiting. If you're still on Zoom, but you're mute. Okay.
Is that better?
Yes, now you're open. You were muted, so I couldn't hear you, and the phone is gone.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
Yeah, but that's good now. You're coming through on Zoom, so that's all right. So, all right. So let's go now. Read that for me, please.
The same trials have been experienced by men of God in ages past. Wycliffe, Huss, Luther, Tyndale, Baxter, Wesley urged that all doctrines be brought to the test of the Bible and declare that they would renounce anything which it condemned. Against these men, persecution raged with relentless fury, yet they ceased not to declare the truth. Different periods in the history of the Church have each been marked by the development of some special truth, adapted to the necessities of God's people at that time.
Yes. And that you're reading there is Great Controversy, 609. So, it's telling us that you will be opposed You will be opposed like these men, like these reformers. But nevertheless, be persecuted.
It's not easy.
No,
It's not easy.
it is not. But you
No,
have to.
it's not.
You have to stand your ground based on truth, on what the Bible says.
It can be very lonely if you think about it.
I have had that experience, loneliness in the church. It can be because you're, the popular.
People don't understand you.
No. But you have to stay the course because in the long run, sooner or later they'll have to come around. Or
beheaded.
Or beheaded, yeah. Yeah, the angels are going to pass through. Those three men that the Bible said, one with the writers in six. One with the writers in and 5 with the sword. Those are angels. The Bible calls angels men. And as I said, it says 6 because it wants us not to be confused. It's an odd number based on biblical number. And it has to do with the church, Jerusalem. Now this highlighted point here is crucial. It's a different periods in the history of the church. In the history of what? The church have been marked by the development of some special truth.
Do you know what? Can we go over this again at some other time as well?
Okay.
I mean, can we finish up?
Yeah.
We still complete this, but can we go over it again? Only because you're going to give me your slides, yeah?
Yes.
But I haven't added notes.
Yeah. I will give you.
And I think I'd struggle to repeat this. I wouldn't struggle. I mean, I'd get the general gist.
Yes.
But you've got to make yours, haven't you?
Huh? What's the question?
I said you've got to make it yours. Once you understand it for yourself, then
Oh,
you
yes,
can
yes.
regurgitate it for somebody else.
Yes. So I'll give you the slide and we'll go over
And
it
then we
because
can go over it again.
yeah, we'll go over it again and because what we have touched here today, it has connection with almost all the prophets because I'll show you how they are connected to this and pretty much saying the same thing, speaking to modern Israel. Yeah, so alright, so you want to pray to close? We pick it up again.
Yeah, sure.
Alright. I'll take a reverent posture. And I know your knee and pray. So, whenever you're ready, okay.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, Father of all things, who created all things, who puts the stars in place and spoke a word and it became so, who put the planets in place, who put flesh on bones and created atoms and cells, and all things that exist.